But we're so impacted by our society and what society is telling us. Toxic masculinity is right there in our face every day. We have to be strong. We can't cry. We can't do this. We can't tell someone that someone touched us, because then it reflects back on us. So I think that's where my struggle was, because I was in that, before internet and all that stuff was happening, is when I went through this. And it was really intense because I didn't know who to talk to. Who do you speak to? Who do you say anything to?
Do you think it is more difficult today for someone to get help in it, or because we live in this social media age where, especially young people, they are living in this constant state of judgment.
Oh,
constant. People live on Instagram. If you're not this on Instagram, you're not anything. Do you feel like it is difficult for young people, especially today, to come forward with any of these?
I think
something like this happen.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with shame.
Yeah.
We're taught shame, and that's one of the things that the self-talk talks about a lot, is that when we are born, we are actually groomed by the people around us, by our parents, by our teachers, by our brothers and sisters, relatives, religious figures, our society. Everyone is telling us what to do and how to do it and what to be. And so we kind of lose out on who we are and who our internal purpose or meaning on this world is about. And so we start to want to fit in, because that's part of society. Human is to want to be along, be a part of a tribe. And I think what we're seeing today with the internet and everything is that exactly thing. We want to be a part of something. We want to fit in, and everything's done online, And what's unfortunate is that these young kids are sharing pictures with each other, that could be just like a funny joke. Here's my picture, my boyfriend asked me for this, or here it is. And then that person passes it on to somebody else. And what they don't realize is that all of a sudden they are now could be passing child sex porn. That's what they're calling it. And so our CSAM, which is child sex abuse material, and the child doesn't know that. And what's even problem on top of that is then the parents become involved, because they own the device that was passed on, and they could be charged for possession. No one talks about this.
Wow.
So, and we think we're just sharing pictures and stuff, or Snapchat is a really big one because it's supposed to disappear after so many minutes or whatever, short period. But if someone has already copied that picture, passed it on to somebody else, that picture's there forever. And then again, we have to bring in the AI, which is really crazy, because a lot of these predators out there are, getting pictures off of a parent's website, a parent's Facebook page, taking the child's picture and then making AI porn out of it. And then contacting that child and saying, look, I got this picture of you doing this, and starting to blackmail them. And what we've seen really, really prevalent right now is that males, 17, about 12 to 17 is the area right now, where they're being blackmailed within 3 hours. And then they have no way out, and so they commit suicide.
This is all, wow. For sure, just left me speechless, just because, and this is getting worse.
Yeah. Because they're ahead of us. These guys in the black market, or I shouldn't say guys, because it could be anybody that we don't know, is that they are passing around on the black market ways to get money by, sextorting these children. And we're like 3 steps behind constantly. And I was talking to the New Jersey Coalition against human trafficking this morning about this whole topic. And what was really interesting that popped in my head, this is nothing different than like an entrepreneur or direct marketing.
Yeah.
These predators are reaching out to hundreds of people, and then they get maybe 20.
It's a numbers game at that point.
It's a total numbers game. And, one of the things I warn people about is all they talk now is about all the vulnerabilities of these kids. Well, we're all vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And I think using the word vulnerability can cause a distance, like if you're talking to a parent, if I'm talking to you, hey, Zach, your child might be vulnerable. And you're like, oh, my child's not vulnerable. You're not going to want to listen any further, because that's not your child, And we have seen football players, high school football players who are popular, who have ended up committing suicide because of this act, because they thought they were talking to a girl. Then they find out, the little moments of grooming and flirting and all that stuff, they send pictures. And then as soon as they send that picture, they turn around and start blackmailing these guys. And they have nowhere else to go. Where are they going to find $1,000 in 20 minutes, So they start to encourage them, well, you might as well just kill yourself then. And these guys feel like there's nothing they can do. Boom, gone.
I have no clue that it was that bad.
It's crazy.
Oh my. So with what you've been working on, and you've made this really your life's mission right now,
right,
to curb some of that. And like you said, there are 3 steps ahead of you at that point. You're just trying to catch up. What measures are being put in place now to try and do something?
Well, NCOSI and the National Coalition Against Human Trafficking are really pushing to ban porn hubs in certain states. Texas just agreed to do that, which is kind of crazy. I mean, of all places, I didn't think Texas would do that. But yeah, and so they're really pushing for that. There's other things like with the New Jersey Coalition that I'm working with right now. We're going to be doing a presentation next Tuesday about how to help parents start that communication and to understand that you just don't have to talk once. This is something that you have to build a relationship with your child so that they can feel safe to come to you or not ashamed to come to you to tell you, hey, I did this. Okay, what do we do now? Or what can we do now? And it's all about that communication and trying to talk about it so that shame becomes less. Because I think our society is so shameful and put shame on everybody. Our TV shows, everything is about shame. I was just watching Spartacus the other day and I was like, oh my God, do you see how much shame is in here? And they're killing each other all the time. But yeah, and so it's about making a positive change in your thinking process. And that's where self-talk can come into.
Yeah, I want to dive into that because when you let, any thought marinate for a long period of time, it becomes a virus. And, all we are at the end of the day are habits, right? That's all we are a form of habits, and a negative thought pattern over and over and over again. That's what leads to those self-destructive behaviors, suicide, as you mentioned.